Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today more Epstein stuff is coming out, and we're going to look at it. But first, don't forget to share. Short and sweet. But first, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now, and all opinions are welcome. And obviously, not as many tabs as the first Epstein video, but there's plenty of tabs here. All of these will be linked, except for this just random YouTube homepage. Will be linked in that description box for you to look at on your own. All right. So just a short thing before we go into the Epstein stuff. It's the Candace stuff, where I guess she's confirming that what was his name? Mitch something? She's confirming that this guy was at this Fort Huachuca air base.
Huachuca, Jordan.
What?
Huachuca, that's how it's pronounced.
Bless you. Bless you. It is, I guess, confirmed by Candace. I'm not looking through this right now, but I'll link it anyway so that people can look at it on their own. There's a screenshot here. There's a lot of people talking about this. And obviously, I should bring up, find your favorite podcaster who joined the psychological operation to convince you Mitch was lying about having been at Fort Huachuca?
Yeah.
Huachuca.
Also Gesundheit.
Thank you. On 9/9, because I've just received the incident report. So, another call out, another challenge to, the Alex Joneses, the Ben Shapiros, whoever's, right? So, I guess we'll see where that goes. Maybe. I'll just find out about it later. But let's move on to the Epstein stuff. Now, if you guys remember, when Kash Patel had to do a Senate hearing, and hopefully let me check my volume real fast. Hopefully you remember this stuff. I have the volume, bruh. Here.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Who, if
Now, kids, keep that in mind when we get to some of the later stuff in this video, where Cash may have been caught lying right there, and thus the scramble to hide these files. Like, once again, it's hard to find another reason of why he would say that right there if there is evidence of co-conspirators or people that were trafficked to. That'd be a weird thing to say, right? Especially if you have that information. But if we have the information now, it's like, yo, you're done. I mean, Cash should have already been done, right? He's already lied to us. He's already done a shit job. He should be done with already. But, it is what it is. I mean, let's be right. The whole administration should be done with. And then take Congress with him. It's like we got some shitheads in our government. A lot of them. And, and they're willing to lie to you about trafficking of minors in order to cover it up for embarrassment. Is that your reason? It's embarrassing. No, or it might be just fucking criminal. And as Alex Jones has told us that, well, Trump doesn't want the whole system to come down, so you gotta keep these things secret. He doesn't want.
Didn't that used to be Alex Jones's whole gimmick? We're going to tear the entire system down. You are the resistance, or whatever the fuck his tagline was.
So you take down the elites by protecting the elites, so that you can take them down later, but in a safer way, so that we're all safe. And bank accounts and 401ks and if war's not gone. That's it.
Buy my boner pills and my silver nitrate.
So something interesting happened with these more newly released things. And before I started recording, I was telling people in here, I'm like, it's like a kid whose parents are coming home early, and he just had a party. He didn't clean the house yet. He's like scrambling to clean everything up, but he's gonna make mistakes, right? He's gonna leave fucking dirt underneath the fucking rug. He's gonna throw party cups in the fucking closet. He's gonna just try to cover it up real fast and be like, "Hey, mom. Hey, dad."
Bag of potato chips here. Empty soda can there.
Nah, it'd be kegs, bro. We're putting kegs you know, in the doghouse and shit, like whatever. Oh, hey, mom and dad, I was just studying like a good little boy in Chicago.
Because I'm a gay fed.
And
Yeah.
that
Looking
little
at you, Nick.
that little metaphor actually applies here because I think these guys are really scrambling to just redact, just scrambling like as fast as we can before the time limit runs out, and we have to actually just straight up release things. And this is an example of that. If you can see right here,
That is insane.
watch.
Oh, look at this.
So these are the files released, the most recent files released. You can see the redactions here. What they're going to do is they're just going to copy it and paste it somewhere else. Looks like a notepad, I think. Yeah, looks like a notepad. They're going to paste it in there, and it's going to be unredacted after that. Which means you fucked up. Here you go.
This is pesky redaction. Let's
Unfortunately, we're dealing with cartoon villains here.
get rid
But
of
fortunately for us, they're idiots.
that. That is
I could barely hear the video.
It's just them giggling and laughing. It's not information. Like a couple girls giggling and laughing. But yeah, look at these redactions.
Okay, what's
All I did was copy it and paste it into another thing.
what's it say?
As of October 23rd, 2007, Indike, we're going to see these things because this is what, partially, isn't this what Coffeezilla went over, partially? Pretty sure? Either way, like, I'll just read it, whatever. Indike was listed as president of the foundation. He also was a signatory of the foundation's checking accounts. Between September 2015 and June 2019, Indike, say it that way, Indike signed foundation account checks for over $400,000 made payable to young female models and actresses, including a former Russian model who received over $380,000 through monthly payments of $8,333. Made over a period of more than 3.5 years until the middle of 2019. Which implies what? Straight up trafficking, right? Trust me, this one's important too. You're going to hear more about this one.
Are you
And this is
sure?
some- this is
400
something else. Sorry.
$400,000 for a model was not much.
They're foreign and they're bringing them into the U.S.
Yeah,
to,
a lot of these
to,
girls
uh,
come
work,
from
quote
like
unquote.
Soviet bloc countries.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
they're getting work
this is something-
work payment.
This is something you're gonna notice a lot. They don't even bother speaking in code for most of this shit. They talk about this shit like they're trading used cars or something.
Yeah, and this heavily implies prostitution.
Yo, is a
Huh.
note that says Trump enjoys young, nimble girls? It's like a postcard. Is that real?
I have that in here as well. Thank you for spoiling. I have that in here as well. Some are calling it fake. Some are saying maybe because of the handwriting, I believe people are calling it fake. But some might be saying like, "Oh no, this was Epstein's lawyer wrote this for him as he like dictated," you know. But I can't say I
That's
can't say I
the thing
know.
that happens.
Can't say I know. It was a letter to Larry Nasser. Is that what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, LN.
It was a weird message. We're gonna go through it. But once again, I always leave the disclaimer like, hey, if it's fake, it's fake, right? Leave room for that.
Yeah.
But this heavily implies and let's be real, the some of the money is involved in greasing wheels. Let's be honest. Whether it's Russia to get them out of there and U.S. to get them in here, right? Personnel that work for these whatever immigration, whatever the fuck, right? Part of it could be that.
Ukraine, Lithuania, Latvia. Again, pick a former Soviet Union country, and there's a good chance that they've had some girls flown in from there.
Now, I think we're going to get a better view of this in one of the later videos. But it'd be interesting if you see, like, Indike and these companies being blurt out when it's like, hey guys, that means they're involved in something here, right? This guy's signing checks for Epstein, essentially, this Indike guy or lady. I think it's a guy though.
Whoever.
Yeah, but we'll get more into that. If not, I'll probably just look it up. But also with the redactions, here you go. I believe this brings it. This might bring up the same thing, or might be a little bit different. Either way, here's this Ed Krasenstein guy. We don't trust so much, especially if there's a Democrat in office. But either way, he wants to get at Trump with the Epstein files. Let's hear what he has to say. Here we go.
I was just able to recover some of the redactions to Trump's Epstein files, and you won't believe what I just found. The Trump DOJ screwed up some of the redactions so bad that you can recover them. And I did so simply by copying and pasting the text. When I did, this is what was there. This is 100% proof that Trump tried to cover up the existence of other participants in Epstein.
Pause, so we
It
can read
It
it.
says right here that they paid large sums.
Well, he could read it himself, maybe.
Basically, the
Oh, is he
mistake.
gonna?
Basically, the mistake that happened here is, like, if this was done in Microsoft Word or another similar piece of Office software, you can highlight text, like with a particular color.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that what happened here was they tried to highlight it in black because they thought that would work.
Yeah.
But
Or-
if you paste this into Notepad, which doesn't have all that fancy formatting, you're going to get plain text.
Or what I've heard is possibly the redactions were underneath the lettering, right? Thinking that, oh, because the lettering's black, you put something black behind it. Or maybe they just layered it incorrectly, right? And you put the redaction behind the fucking letters, not
Also
on top of
possible.
it. It could lead to this fuck up, right? Because you put it in, right? That seems possible to me. But I don't know. I can't say I know how they fucked up. I'll read it just in case he doesn't. It doesn't look like there's too much time left here, but it says defendants also attempted to conceal their criminal sex trafficking and abuse conduct by paying large sums of money to participant witnesses, including by paying for their attorney's fees and case costs and litigation related to this conduct. Epstein also threatened harm to victims and helped release damaging stories about them to damage their credibility when they tried to go public. Tried to go public with their stories of being trafficked and sexually abused. Epstein maybe moves his head here. It's a little rough. Maybe he doesn't.
Phew.
Bless you. Epstein also instructed.
Basically, the next sentence is about them trying to destroy evidence.
Yeah. Invoking defendants, criminal. Okay. Yeah, basically to make them look bad, which was part of Steve Bannon's job for Epstein, right? As a crisis manager. I'd assume he played some role, at least in the later years, right? The when he's like more in like trouble, trying to. I assume he played some sort of role in regards to making them look bad for the sake of getting Jeffrey Epstein off the hook. But okay.
Steve Bannon's also sitting on a good, 12, 13, 14 hours or whatever of Epstein tapes that he still hasn't released.
Yeah.
Because those two had a really long conversation for one day.
Yeah. All right, here. Now, to be fair to Steve Bannon, there's a good chance he didn't because he's not Epstein's lawyer. But if it's just him and Epstein has no reason to tell him all the details of whatever he's done. But it would definitely be incredibly embarrassing that you're trying to do PR for, the guy you claim to be fighting against. It'd probably be very embarrassing. Or
And Epstein was also one meticulous motherfucker.
yeah,
It's like that house that a lot of this stuff is supposed to have happened in. Every single room bugged.
mm-hmm. I've heard that as well.
Uh-huh.
I've seen photographs of cameras that were in the
What are
room.
you talking about? Cash Patel said there was nothing there. It was just porn that Epstein watched. He didn't.
Oh yeah, sure.
He didn't film anything.
Either way, let's watch the last of this video. Here we go.
Money to participant witnesses in order to keep them quiet, as well as their attorney's fees. This means that Trump tried to hide the fact that there's other participants and other attorneys who know about it. as well as those who helped Epstein release damaging stories and destroy evidence.
Oh, there it is. Epstein also instructed one or more Epstein Enterprise participant witnesses to destroy evidence relevant to ongoing court proceedings involving defendants' criminal sex trafficking and abuse conduct. Fuck my life, but not surprising at all. I might have forgot to put this in here. Once again, even Ryan Grimm's like, this could be AI or something like that, so don't just take it as true. Oh, what
Right.
the fuck? What?
What happened?
What? It's not here. What the hell? Maybe they deleted it. Maybe Ryan Grimm deleted it because it was fake. Let me just make sure because I had it in. Yeah. Spoiler alert! Don't worry, kids. Not a movie. Did all that yesterday, but I had probably around here. He might have deleted it because he's like, I don't know if this is AI or not. Maybe he found out it was AI and just deleted it. I think he deleted it, man.
This is the real life.
Oh, wait.
It's not just fantasy.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
Caught in the Epstein files. No escape from reality.
Right.
This song is officially over until I can think of more lyrics.
Right. Andrew Tate got shit on by an OnlyFans guy. Crazy. That's crazy.
You know what? Deserved.
I was just like, yeah. Anyways, so here's the thing that implies Donald Trump that people are floating around right now. Now, we don't know who the person is, but this is a crazy story, so let me read it. Blank asked Blank about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth, right? Fort North area, I'll say that.
Yeah, Fort Worth. I think that's a typo.
Okay. No, it says Worth. Okay.
And tech.
No, it says Worth.
So Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dallas,
Texas.
Dallas-Fort Worth area. During Blank time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Okay, so he's talking to Trump here. Blank reported Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. As caller chose not to do. Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone talking to Nor? What the fuck? Wait. Oh, okay, my bad. I skipped line. On the phone and made references to abusing some girl. Let me read that again because I fucked it up. Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girl. Blank was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing, as Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump. Blank demeanor went stone cold as Blank stated he raped me. Blank said, "What? Now who's he talking to here?"
Wait.
Yeah, let me back up.
Hold on. Put a name to the blanks. Just
Say
call it
Jane.
Sarah or some. Yeah, just
Jane,
put a
Jane
name
Doe.
to it so it reads better for
Give a
my.
better name.
at
She's
least-
Jane.
Okay. I'll say the driver wasn't sure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing. As the driver talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, the driver immediately. No, it just I don't know who's referencing where and when here. Like, I guess the driver immediately blank demeanor went stone cold. As I have to use blanks, man. Like this is too weird. I assume this is the girl
Okay,
here. I
then
assume this is
just
the driver here, but it's just
okay.
roll with
Go
this.
back then.
Just roll with this. All right, I'm just rolling with it. Blank was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank immediately, Blank demeanor went stone cold as Blank stated, he raped me. Blank said, "What?" As Blank replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Blank noted some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. Okay.
I'm lost, dude. I'm fucking lost.
So it's the victim saying this person, some girl took this victim with a funny name. The girl has a funny name. The victim says the girl with the funny name took her into a fancy hotel or building, and that's how it happened, how she got raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Blank, which I assume is
No,
the driver.
no. What you said at some point is the limo driver was one of those blanks saying that he didn't know who Trump was referencing on the phone or what, and then it got confusing after that to where it's like now we've switched people talking. Hello?
It's weird. Yeah, I'm like re-looking at it. It is weird, right? Because the beginning part is talking about Donald Trump being being the passenger, right? And he's keep saying the name Jeffrey on the phone, and
Right.
made references to abusing some girl.
And the driver wanted to kick Trump's ass, but for what he was saying, but the driver's saying he doesn't know who he was referencing to, but he was talking about raping somebody on the phone. Equivocally, that's where I understood that. And now it sounds like we've switched what's being talked about. Like, is the same driver talking to a victim of Donald Trump that somehow he met too? Which would be a separate scenario.
That's the problem with changing points of view when we don't got anybody's name.
I honestly, God, I'm going to start over because maybe he's talking about Trump to the victim inside the limousine. I don't fucking know. Let's start over. Okay, Blank asked Blank about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So maybe this is the victim. The victim asked the driver about his time driving a limousine for 2 years. During Blank's time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. I guess that's what he brought up to the girl. The driver noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. The driver reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. The driver reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. As caller chose not to. What? Oh, okay. And he didn't do that. Got it. I guess the driver noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girl. The driver was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing.
Right.
As the driver talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, the victim immediately maybe changed demeanor. This is probably from the driver's perspective, right? As the driver was talking about meeting Donald Trump, I guess the girl, the victim, immediately changed her demeanor and went stone cold. Wait, what? As I guess the girl said,
this is the problem when we
raped
keep
me.
changing points of view. It's a bitch to do this when you don't have anyone's name.
maybe the driver went stone cold, as the victim stated, "He raped me." The driver said, "What?" As the girl replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Then the girl noted, "Some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened." That makes more sense. So,
Thinking maybe the girl with the funny name could be Ghislaine. I'm not sure, because it is a pretty funny name.
yeah, very possible. But she's already convicted of shit, so why not? Maybe, who knows?
It is pretty well known by now that Ghislaine was a huge part of the trafficking ring.
Yeah. So I assume the driver advised the girl to call the police regarding the incident, as blank stated, "I can't." Okay, the girl stated, "I can't. They will kill me." On Christmas Day, the driver. Wait. The girl contacted the driver. Maybe stated she had in fact called the police about what they had talked about. The driver told the girl she had done good. The driver did not hear from the girl or someone else until see, I don't know, until January 10th, 2000. Blank reached out to maybe the driver, stating Blank was dead. One of the victims was dead, and noted she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma, or Kiefer, Oklahoma. I think, right? Okay. That's Oklahoma.
Okay, is Oklahoma.
Yeah. Officers on the scene and Blank stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Blank later stated Blank committed suicide because Blank had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel. Blank feels the murder is a cover for Ghislaine. So they use Ghislaine's name here. I mean, that's just all extremely bizarre. And
This is
yeah,
the sad
That's
thing for me to be
slop,
right
dude.
about.
It is slop. You can't make fucking heads of tails of all that
it's
because it sounds a whole bunch like you would. Can't be like testimony in a court. It can't be that. It's too hearsay-ish.
Not by itself. That's why we need these fucking names.
well, I assume like now it's like it makes it okay. There's probably two girls in the car with that driver. They asked him about his time with Donald Trump, right? Driving Donald Trump around or something like that, and that's how this all unfolded.
Well, if you're gonna do that, then you're gonna also have to have the testimony of all the other people, and one of them's dead. Otherwise, it's hearsay. And with one of them being dead, how you get that testimony?
Well, she made a police report, didn't she? They said she called the police.
No. You have to testify to what this person is saying. Otherwise, it's left in hearsay.
Fair enough, but like the cops have the names. I assume they can confirm or deny these people
Right.
exist or died or whatever the fuck.
That whatever she
Will they do it?
filed a police report, whatever she filed on a police report could lead to something else. But this, on its own, would need the cross from the other two witnesses or one other witness to confirm this. Otherwise, it would be in the realm of hearsay.
Sure, but it's worth exploring. But then we just heard, oops, wrong one.
Sure.
We heard here with Cash.
So
fucking
I'm saying
Patel.
this wouldn't be testimony, is what I'm getting at.
No, it's not testimony. Well, it is. It's testimony from.
No. Like
driver,
that would
right?
be allowed to. That would be allowed to be testimony in a courtroom, and because the dead person would need to agree with this limo driver, and since they're dead, they can't agree with them.
Unless they made a police report, which explicitly says what's in here.
No,
Right?
no. The police report could be its own thing. It's not testimony. A police report is not testimony unless she says, and I guess she could make a statement and say, I told the limo driver all of this stuff and like list it out and it matches up to this. That
Well, if they can showcase.
but since she's been dead before court, her entire testimony could be thrown out anyway. Because
Okay, fair enough. But
I have a right to cross-examine if you're accusing me.
well, fuck the
And
legal
if you're
shit
dead,
right
I
now.
can't cross-examine you.
Fuck the legal shit right now. Like, would they be able to like contact this driver guy and find out? Let's say he knew she reported to the police, but didn't know where or who. Was it FBI? Was it her local police? Whatever. Right? Let's say he doesn't know the details of that. If he says something that's actually in her police report, or he like, there's kind of like they can kind of corroborate with each other essentially. That'd be enough. That's enough smoke for me to be like to way look more into it.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, this isn't written like testimony.
No, it's not. It's just not. It is testimony, but it's testimony of the driver, not the victim, essentially, right?
No, I mean, like, it's not written like court testimony.
No. But I'm sure these guys, like, how would they have this unless they did an interview with them, right? With one of these people, right?
Sure.
But either way, it's still plenty of smoke to look into. But Cash Patel told us there's nothing there to look into. That alone, right there, tells you he's fucking lying, because this is 100% enough to look into something. 100%.
Yeah, when the subject of the Epstein files comes up, Cash Patel is going to do the honest thing. He'll lie. Like the fucking stooge we all know he is.
Yeah. But let's keep it moving. We got plenty of other stuff to look at. This is the letter that Josh is talking about. You can see here. Actually, it starts backwards, so it starts over here and finishes over here. And it's alleged to be sent to Larry Nassar from Jeffrey Epstein while Epstein's in jail, I believe. And there we go. Take a picture of this. It says, Dear Larry Nassar, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty worked by, wait, what? When a young beauty, like, worked, right? Or walked, sorry. A young beauty walked by the loved, or they loved, or, sorry. When a young beauty walked by, I hate cursive, he loved to grab snatch. Whereas we ended up snatching grab in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. Why wouldn't he sign it himself?
Unfair.
Once again, this is bizarre. It could be fake. It could be Epstein dictating to his lawyer of what the right. Who fucking knows? Either way, I'm showing it to you, and you can look at it on your own when I post all this. There's the full tweet itself. I could have just
I'd
read
say
it from
there's a
here.
pretty good chance that it was dictated but not read.
You can see from this overly biased account called Breaking, whatever the fuck they're called, Breaking News or some shit. This DOJ says purported better from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, saying our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls is fake. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. And you'll see that statement here from the DOJ. But it doesn't have to be factual, but Wouldn't you follow up on this? Wouldn't you? Right? If your point is
Serious
to
shit.
protect
I would
innocent
follow
people.
up on it.
Yeah. And protecting Americans from fentanyl by blowing up boats in the middle of the fucking ocean for a country that doesn't really deliver fentanyl into the U.S. But this stuff, no follow up on. Interesting, huh? Pretty interesting. Well, let's continue. Now, I'm not reading through all this, but you can see here the caption here. New Epstein files. Epstein feared returning to cell where he got strangled. Said, I don't know what happened. And that's in reference to what I was telling you guys before, where I guess he was having trouble sleeping. And I guess one day he was like, something wrapped around his neck and he was snoring. Like almost sounds like someone got like KO'd snoring. You know what I'm saying? Like knocked out snoring. Like by like a punch, like a concussion knockout. But then he had no recollection of like how he ended up in that scenario. Which also sounds like a knockout to me. I'm sorry, it sounds like a knockout thing, right? What happens in fighters, boxers, whoever, like all the time, combat sports, when they get fucking knocked out by someone, they lay on the ground, they start snoring, right? And then they wake up, they're like, what happened? There's actually a funny story. Sorry to go to something more humorous in a dark scenario like this, but I think it was Kamaru Usman, UFC fighter, welterweight division, when he got knocked out by what's the Brit's name? It's British. Leon Edwards. He got knocked out by him, and he said the last thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. Right? I'm sure he's like he regained consciousness, but he's still like out of it. You know what I mean? And they made their way to the hospital. He's like, hey, Kamaru, do you know where you're at? Yeah, I'm at the hospital. You know what happened? Yeah, I was just at UFC. Oh, fuck. You realize I got fucking KO'd, which is fucking hilarious. He's like, yeah, I was just at a fight at... Oh, shit. I know what happened now. I got knocked the fuck out.
Takes a moment for your memory to catch up there, doesn't it?
But I'm not going to read through
He
all
found out
this.
he lost.
Yeah. He realized he lost when he realized he's at the hospital and that he was just at UFC, whatever it was. Which is like, to me, one of the funniest sports stories I've ever heard in my life. That's funny. Sucks he got knocked out, for him, for his health, but like, that's still hilarious. Okay. So I'm not going to read through all this, but this is for you to look at. I believe, right? Yeah, it's a psyche eval, essentially. Right? And you're going to hear from the doctor. He's going to be talking to not just Epstein, or talking about Epstein. He's going to talk about his fucking roommate, too. What's his name? Tagliatore? See his name's in there. Yeah. Okay. Tartaglione. Okay, that's his name.
Yeah, you knocked him out.
I mean, let's be honest. If you KO someone, it'd be pretty easy to choke them out with a fucking anything you want to. They're on fucking Queer Street, right? They're out of it.
Yeah, they're out. They can't fucking do shit.
And that's a notorious thing where they make those snoring fucking noises. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because their airway is halfway shut.
Yeah, but either way, it seemed like Epstein wanted out of that cell. That's what I got from reading all this. But I'll leave this for you guys to read on your own and look into that. It might be brought up later in some of these other videos, but let's move on. And then we have just another quiet thing from Mark, I guess something submitted by Jeffrey's brother, Mark Epstein, through an online tip to the FBI 2023 saying that his brother, Jeffrey, was murdered by Trump because he was about to name names. You can see right here. On February 22nd, 2023, 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time, Mark Epstein, date of birth, yada yada. Later, blah, 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 email account, resident, which submitted an online tip to the FBI National Threat Operations Center. Yada yada yada. You have all this. Submitted text. Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in his jail cell. I have reason to believe he was killed because he was about to name names. I believe President Trump authorized his murder. So, once again, don't have to take that as true or whatever the fuck, but
What was the
I have to
date?
point it out.
What was the date? What was the date on that message being sent?
February 22nd to 2023.
Yeah. A little late, but, you know. Maybe he saw stuff. Maybe he started going through, because he has the like, rights of attorney, I think that's what it's called. I think he has that.
Attorney-client privilege is the phrase you're looking for.
So he has access to all of Jeffrey's property and shit like that. So thus, maybe he was going through it and he saw something like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this? And it could have been something where maybe Jeff Epstein had all this collected like fucking evidence and shit as his own like, you know, dead man switch. But before he could actually put it all together, you know, he suicided himself, I guess. And then
I mean,
maybe Mark
Jeffrey
Epstein found that.
Epstein wasn't ever formally married, I'm pretty sure. So
Next of
his
kin would be
brother
him.
Mark would be the next of kin.
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, maybe he found something within Jeffrey's stuff. Was like, okay, this guy's a part of this somehow. Maybe not. It could be bullshit. It could be political operative shit. Who knows? Either way, we're gonna move on. Oh, good.
I was just gonna say Mark is still alive.
Yeah, he's made some appearances on CNN to make some statements in
Yep.
regards to Trump and Epstein.
So, Mark, if you trip over this video somehow, find a comfortable hiding spot, buddy.
Yeah.
His credibility has come into question before, so
Mark talks a lot, and I think he's basically anti-Trump. so
Yeah.
So Dubster's going to question anything he says.
I mean,
no,
this is
not
worth.
just on being
I'm
against
joking.
Trump. Sure,
I'm joking.
he is against Trump, but he is also made some statements that have made him look like he may have been involved in some of this stuff too.
Fair enough. Either way, we all recognize we've seen, once again, on this Rinky Dink channel, you've seen enough from just shit I've seen on the internet to be like, okay, there's enough here to start really investigating. Like police work, investigation style shit. But are they going to do that? Probably fucking not. Probably not. You can leave all the Mark Epstein shit out of it all you want to. You can put him aside. Everything else is enough. You start really looking into things. And that's why, but I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to
Well,
rely on, I guess, people doing journalism stuff. You got?
It's not going to be Cash Patel. So it's going to have to be on the YouTuber side. Someone like Michael Tracy who really gets down into he reads the documents, bro.
Oh, I can't wait.
So-
I can't wait to dive into some
So-
sweaty Michael Tracy
so-
shit.
This other stuff, besides the one where Trump raped the girl, was that leaked or was that officially released?
That was officially released, I think.
Everything but the Trump raped somebody?
Wait, you're saying which ones of
The
these
one that-
are officially released? Well, we're gonna
No,
hear.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Nothing
hear
in the
from.
official release was against Trump. It's like so it would have been in the other batch, number 8.
No,
Possibly.
no, the rest of it wasn't against Trump. It was just like Epstein's way of dying. It was Mark saying something. So I guess that's just Mark saying something.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what we're gonna find out because these guys are gonna talk about it. We have Coffeezilla here, or I guess this channel name is Voidzilla. Might be a second channel or something. We're not gonna watch this because he's gonna be in an interview with Breaking Point and Ryan Grimm, who's a part of DropSite News, and they're gonna go over what they found, like the essentially they found it early. Things that were not supposed to be officially released yet, and they found it in this video here.
Well,
So we're gonna watch
here's the
those.
other problem with that. DOJ could say we didn't release that. That was not real.
No, I can't.
They could easily wipe their hands of that.
No, it's on their.
Not if
They
it's
found
on
it
their
on their.
servers.
Yeah, they found it on their website.
Yeah, they're saying that we didn't release it. It was
We
And I'd
leaked.
say
We
we're not.
leaked it by accident. Would be what you have to say, but it's still coming from them, right?
just like the Candace Owens and the French control power over Ukraine thing. Just don't address it.
Nah, it's too late. In fact, it comes off as more scandalous and quote unquote entertaining for people because it's supposedly supposed to be hidden, but they did such a sloppy IT job here that people found out this stuff. But either way, let's
we should also
God.
we should also look and see if they've made a response yet to the leaked stuff.
I think I can kind of predict what their response is going to be, if anything. They're going to deny it, say it's a
we saw
fucking Democrat hoax or some stupid shit like that.
I mean, they did that.
Well,
here,
I mean, like,
right?
if the administration doesn't, then you go to the loyalist of Trump and see what they say.
They'll probably not cover the story and focus on Candace Owens. Or focus on Democrats that are in there or whatever the fuck. We got Bill Clinton. We got him. And ignore everything else. You know what I'm saying?
If they address it, they can just say that that was going to be part of the next batch, and they weren't done reviewing it. They're just going to have bullshit.
Don't worry, we're going to have an
Pam
Alex
Bondi
video.
can just go on TV, say that, and a lot of these fuckers will go back to sleep.
Don't worry, we'll have an Alex video. Not in this video, but later. But for now, let's go here to breaking points. Where, yeah, they essentially, like, DropSite essentially leaked it, right? And along with Coffeezilla and some breaking points people. So without further ado, here is my future wife and hot nerd, whatever her name is. Here we go.
Welcome everyone to a special breaking edition
She's
of
such a
Breaking
nerd, it's so
Points. We are
attractive.
joined now by the one and only Coffeezilla, who has been
Listen,
working.
nerds are not dweebs,
all
okay? It's
hours
different.
with our
Dweebs
own
are different.
Ryan
He's a
Graham
nerd.
going through what Epstein
Hot nerd,
emails,
like Whitney
documents,
Webb.
and all of that. Ryan, tell us a little bit about
Or
what
Abby
you guys have been
Martin.
digging into.
Abby
Yeah,
Martin's
so
not a nerd.
also
She is,
a little
she's a
background
badass.
on
She's a
this
badass bitch.
unusual collab.
Whatever.
See, I think, Stephen, you were.
She's a
I
killer,
reached
bro.
out to you because you were about to do a version of Jmail, I think.
You
so
would know,
Jmail,
wouldn't you?
which at DropSite we're working with them. It's jmail.world. You can also find it through
There you go, Joe.
DropSite.com. Like they basically
I still don't trust
taking
it, bro. I
as
want no
many,
viruses.
emails as they could find and making them searchable in like a Gmail format. It's
I'll link the Jmail thing. Will I get it? Yeah, I'll link it. See if I get in trouble for it. Also, let me just reset this. I think it's lagging a bit.
Does nobody open it?
Fuck Discord. Fuck you. God damn it. Okay. Here we go.
it's actually brilliant. So then we started working with them because we had
Well,
lots of other
just a
data
quick moment,
sets with
Jordan.
emails from the house.
Like I've already done some digging around on that Jmail thing, and it's just a big file repository. There's nothing executable in there,
Fair enough.
and it's done up in the style of Gmail because whoever made it thought it was really fucking funny. And you know what? They're right. It's hilarious.
Either way, let's continue. I will link that for everyone to look at on their own.
What's the J stand for then?
Jeffrey.
Jabroni.
Oh, okay.
All right. Here we go. I was close. Here we go.
Also, yes,
Oversight Group
Jabroni.
also had Ehud Barak's emails, etc. So
John,
loading those
closed
in there
caption.
too. I'd heard you were doing them. Like let's combine forces. And so
Awesome.
you've been working with us, sifting through stuff for a while now. And last night, somebody on our team, basically figured out that an that the DOJ had uploaded. You correct me if I'm getting the tech right here. So they had uploaded the 8th tranche of the Epstein files, but had not made it indexed yet. But you could find it by just monkeying around with the URL. So we were able to find it, and then the Jmail team, made it searchable. They subsequently took it down. DOJ put it back up. DOJ has now put up a new version. Anyway, you can find all the different versions over at Jmail.
Redacted
A
real
lot of
quick.
interesting takeaways.
Please.
First, I had never seen before the federal investigators talking about 10 co-conspirators. The only one that was prosecuted was Ghislaine Maxwell. So that's one co-conspirator.
Yeah, I mean,
That is, to me, another big story in regards to all this, which is they have these quote unquote co-conspirators that are actually noted as co-conspirators, at least by allegation, at least, right? And those guys are redacted as well. But meanwhile, people were like, okay, you're only going to redact the victims because the point is to protect the victims, as Pam Bondi might say. So it's like, that's like, right? Isn't that weird? Very weird. Because it's not like random guy met Epstein like Michael Jackson met Epstein one day, right? It's more of like these guys were a part of the operation itself. And yet they're being protected and redacted. Hey, God?
2 weeks ago, Alan Dershowitz demanded that the victims' names be unredacted so that the accusers have the right to face their accusers.
Yeah. You can just throw lawsuits at people that can't afford to fight you in court. Yeah.
And it becomes suicidal.
Yeah, then and they start feeling...
So,
Dershowitz is a well-known dick anyway, so...
True.
For me, the whole co-conspirator topic in the claims that there's nobody else that they have anything credible, where that falls apart is when he was found guilty the first time, and they had a deal for immunity for all co-conspirators, named and unnamed. Like, that already tells you that this is the way it worked, right? And that's why they couldn't get Maxwell on anything prior to that time. Everything had to be newer.
Yeah.
So we already knew that stuff was going on. We didn't have names, but obviously they know, and they could.
Yep.
Yeah, and the courts know.
Yeah, they could do follow-ups, couldn't they? Because, like you said, one of the people that got immunity was Ghislaine Maxwell, and then she ended up in jail later on. So, like, wouldn't that beg the question, like, well, what about these other people here? What if they're got that immunity clause in Florida, but they are either they continued or something else or something that they can get them on the line for. You know what I'm saying? So, it basically the whole bullshit we saw from Cash Patel there. Like, no, there's no one else. This is it. Dan Bongino. No, that's it. That's all we got. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are definitely fighting for the people and the victims, aren't you? All right, here we go. Democratic hoax.
It's stunning. I mean, it's truly stunning. Like you said, I mean, they just didn't password protect
Donald.
the data volume. I mean, this is kind of a embarrassing oversight. And so we got a volume. I mean,
let me see.
What's up?
I'm gonna read this. Blank.
Oh,
this is from Co-Conspirators, July 2019. Blank does not need to head out. We made contact with Blank last night in New York. Contact was made with blank, blank, and blank, maybe? Attempts were made to Blank and Brunel. And that's Mark Brunel, right? Is that his name?
No,
John
Brunel.
Clark. Yeah, John-Luc.
John-Luc Brunel. Mark Brunel's a quarterback for the Jaguars, wasn't he? He was.
Stop FanDueling, Jordan.
He was like fucking before FanDuel. How dare you? Like fucking 20 years ago.
Jean-Luc is he's the French connection for all of this to get and recruit the models. That's what we've been told for years.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he got pinched not super long ago, and he was found dead in his jail cell back in 2022.
Fucking brilliant.
Well, then he can talk.
No loose ends.
You can only talk to
Can't
the
testify.
fishes.
Yeah, dead man can't tell tells.
Blank is confirmed to live in New York, but was away for the holiday weekend. We did not have a good address for Blank, but attempt was made at a residence in New York. Now, remember that email? It's something that is part of the files or leaked by the oversight committee, the Democratic Oversight Committee. I think they leaked this or put it out there, where there's a guy who's asking for a passcode for Epstein's house, right? And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to get there too early where I have to run into Trump." It could have been a joke. It could have been literal. Could have been a mixture of both. I can't say I know, but I'm pretty sure they're like, "Oh no, we can meet up in Paris or something like that," right? So like this sounds a lot like that, but in that thing, the name was redacted, like who was sending this email to Jeffrey Epstein, or I think it was like an iPhone message, I believe. I'd have to look back over it, but either way,
I remember vaguely what you're talking about.
yeah. This was a while ago where we covered that in a video.
I don't remember if I was here for that. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but
But
all right.
Whatever.
at the
Let's
same time,
continue.
you gotta consider you're guessing of connection there, and you don't really know because
It could have been a joke.
for
or
one,
something. Who knows?
well, no, because there's 8 million people that live in New York, and that could have been anybody. It could have been that person for that story, and this could be any of the other 8 million people in New York City.
Yeah, theoretically, yes. But you'd obviously start with people that are known to associate
Right.
with
I mean, I
Epstein.
get that you want to connect dots, but I don't think there's enough information to connect that dot.
No, well, yeah, I agree. But I'm not trying to connect the dot. I'm just trying to say, like, is that a dot? Is this dot connected to that
It
one?
could be.
Is it? Question mark?
Right. It totally could be, but it's not clear enough.
Yeah. It says, we did not have a good address for blank, but attempt was made at a residence in New York. Attempts to Maxwell are being made in Boston today. Blank will be approached in Florida and blank in New York, but haven't as of yet. I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner, which is Les Wexner, right? So they're trying to contact these people that are quote unquote co-conspirators in the subject line you see up there.
Well, it said New York and Florida. That's Epstein, right? He's the one with the house in New York and a house in Florida.
And New Mexico, apparently. I'm sure he has properties all over the fucking place, right? To be all over the fucking world.
Yeah, he has at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has at least 5.
But okay, so here's where I can be kind of fair, is if the FBI followed through on this and are like, oh, you know what? These quote unquote co-conspirators are not actually guilty of anything, so thus we're not going to call them that, and thus we're going to block their names out. But it would have, like, once again, that would have to be us trusting them, thus trusting their intelligence as well. There'd be a lot of trust going around
Florida,
here to make this make sense. But yeah, go ahead.
Florida and New York could also be Trump.
Once again, he has properties all over the fucking place too, right, to be honest with you. But
right,
yeah. And also, I don't know. I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein formerly had a stake in Mar-a-Lago, but we do know that he had intimate knowledge of the way all the Mar-a-Lago shit was financed, which, if what I've heard is true, includes a hell of a lot of mortgage fraud.
I believe I've heard that as well. But let's finish this up and let them go on with their video, because they're gonna get to more stuff. Let me read the last line here. When you get a chance, can you give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators? Question mark. Do we need blank to head out on blank blank, aka like maybe like a cop or someone, a detective? Like, hey, should we send this guy out to do this, or a lady to go out and do this? Yada yada yada. But all right, let's continue. Here we go. Also, there's my wife again, my hot nerd wife. Here we go.
This is kind of a embarrassing
Patience,
oversight,
Jordan.
and so we
No.
gotta look at it as you said. I was
This
also
is here
trying
as
to
well.
put together my own like sort of way to pull together all this data, and then we basically got together with the JML team. They're kind of the tech guys behind it, but the 10 co-conspirators is the part that blows a hole, you know, in the July 25th memo saying we have no evidence to charge uncharged third parties, but 6 years ago, they apparently had evidence to put grand jury subpoenas out to at least 3 of them. They're talking about 10 of them. Les Wexner's implicated. I mean, where did this go? And why don't we see the part that I was frustrated by is if you're going to show us that you suspected 10 co-conspirators and you didn't charge them, then we should see in your data where you cleared them, right? Where you said, hey, we don't have any evidence to actually go after these people. We don't see that. We just see, hey, you had 10 suspects and you only went after one of them, which is Ghislaine. I mean, that's where this started for me. And yeah, it just went from there.
And
Sorry, wife. That is extremely interesting. Like, honestly, like, because I was asking about that, like, okay, maybe they cleared them, as in, like, these guys weren't a part of anything. They cleared them somehow. They had an alibi, whatever, right? They did follow-ups and found out, like, okay, we don't have anything on these guys. But right now, Coffeezilla is saying, like, no, there was no conclusion amongst the files here to showcase that that these guys were cleared. So why the fuck did you only go after Ghislaine Maxwell and no one else? Right? I mean,
Had to throw out a guess. I would say they probably just figured Ghislaine was their best lead and they were trying to pick their battles wisely, but I'm not certain.
yeah.
But that guess is if I had to steelman their position.
Yeah, but he's kind of saying, because he went through these things, apparently, Coffeezilla's kind of saying, like, there was no documentation of, okay, these guys are cleared, which means it would be ongoing if you're being a real fucking police officer, right? You'd have something where, like, okay, blank blank gets immunity because they snitched on Bob or some shit. They snitched on Ghislaine, so they're good. Or, oh, we exonerated blank blank because
he snitched on Dick and Harry.
Like, whatever the scenario, like, you would find documentation for that because we had this kind of, like, let's be honest, this is, like, kind of in the nitty-gritty style of documentation, right? Like, little messages going back and forth between, like, by detectives or offices, right? FBI field offices and all that shit, or maybe even DAs or attorneys, all that shit. That's not like, you know, dun 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 dun, here's the fucking document. That's kind of like almost personal in a way. Not, it's professional, but it's like kind of personal too, in a way. So thus, wouldn't something like that is supposed to be like over the top public of like, hey, this guy didn't do this, at least amongst FBI officers, right? Where I'd be like,
I'll put it this way: at
there'd be a
minimum,
document for
somebody's
that.
going to get a very angry phone call for sloppy record keeping.
Yeah,
at
like,
minimum.
Where did those go? Maybe those ones.
If this is intentional, we got much deeper issues to explore.
Maybe that guy didn't slip and fall. He reached the shredding machine. The other documents, they slipped and fell and like got coffee on it. But those documents, I guess they made it right to the shredder and disappeared.
Well, you see, what happened was he was hanging with Craig and them down by the Safeway, and the sun was in his eyes, and a whole bunch of other things happened. And new phone, who dis?
Go ahead, Dubster.
The 7 not named co-conspirators, all of them were with their mistresses, and that's their alibi.
Oh,
7.
So they're madames. Okay, you're saying Wexner, Maxwell, and Epstein is what you're saying. No. Epstein would be
Wexner?
he'd be the guy. The other people would be co-conspirators. So that'd be Maxwell and Wexner as far as the names they're saying right now.
No, Epstein's the guy. Wexner, Brunel.
Oh, Brunel.
And
Jesus Christ. Maxwell.
Jean-Luc Brunel.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did they say something about a Maxwell? I don't even know who that is.
You know, Ghislaine Maxwell, dude.
Oh, okay. So that's 3 of the 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Besides Epstein.
Fair
so
enough.
the other 7,
although
they
I
were
don't
with
think
their mistresses.
The
other 7 with their mistresses, and the FBI didn't want to embarrass them while they're facing charges of being co-conspirators in human trafficking. It's It's more important to hide their alibis from the general public.
There was one other guy whose name Kyle brought up. It kills me that I can't remember it, but it was something that sounded Greek.
Snuffleupagus? Stephanopoulos. Is that it?
Maybe it was Stephanopoulos. I don't know.
Snuffleupagus. Okay.
It was Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks? Said Greek sounding.
He went to Greece.
Oh, he went there. Okay.
He ran away.
Yeah.
Whenever that shit came out about him being part of this, he went to Greece for like a few years.
I thought it was Australia he went to. Whatever. Okay.
No, he went to Greece.
Moving on.
He went to Greece, then he went to Philadelphia.
Moving on.
He
Either
came
way,
back.
they may not be they actually might not be including Ghislaine Maxwell in this whole 10 people, 10 co-conspirator thing. They might not actually be doing that. But let's find out. Here we go.
If you guys could also explain a little bit about because this stuff is interesting too. If you could explain a bit about how this is the document dump from the DOJ, but also, Ryan, I know you have those DDoS emails. They're like, right now what you're doing with building these inboxes is kind
DDoS?
of combining all of these different streams of Epstein documents that you have access to.
So what the fuck was someone's server, basically?
Of exactly what
I know what it is.
Pieced together here. I think that might
DDoS attacks.
Actually, you go ahead and take that one. I'll be right back while you explain it.
Denial of service.
Yeah, sure. So basically, how it worked is that there's been so many different data dumps from different sources. On the one hand, you've got the House Oversight, who are putting out files that the DOJ is not putting out. Then you've got data leaks from like early Yahoo days. There's been data dumps of Jeffrey Epstein emails that was first reported on by, I think, Bloomberg, and then DropSite got some, and they started putting those out. And it's just kind of fragmented the universe of information on Epstein, and that's why a lot of people, myself included, kind of had the same idea at the same time of let's find a place to put all of this together. Even the court documents, a lot of those aren't in, the DOJ's kind of document dump. And so there needed to be like kind of an independent place where you can pull it all together and have one searchable database. That's the other problem, is these tools are really bad. I mean, when the DOJ released like their new volumes of data, people were searching names and it wasn't coming up, but those names were in the files. Like even their search functionality was not working at a basic level. And so, yeah, that's basically what this endeavor was to do, is to combine all the data together so that we can really open source it to the public in a way that's useful. Because if you just give a bunch of data that's not processed, it doesn't have context, it's kind of a disaster. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, the fallout of this, it's worth kind of reflecting on, Emily, where we started with this. When we started, obviously they ran on, we're going to release the Epstein files. Then they gave us the phase 1 tranche, which was a lot of reused data. Then they said they're going to have phase 2. Then they said phase 2 is not coming. There is no data. Then it turns out Jason Leopold obviously found that there was what they called a transparency project in March that we never found out about until his FOIA request, and he sued the government to get it. So credit to him for that. But and then on top of that, they called it the transparency project was also called the special redaction project. That's a lot of what we're seeing now was the fruit of this special redaction project, obviously, because we have the House Oversight Committee pushing to get those files to the public now, and obviously that's now became law, and they were supposed to comply with it December 19th, although they withheld a bunch of data. And this volume 8, like, one of the questions that's in my head is, had we
never
not
comply
figured
with
out
it willingly,
that you could just download it from the
arms
internet,
twisted.
When would we have gotten this? Clearly it was ready. We got the same files that they released, a few hours later,
it wasn't
in the panic of it. But when was this going to go out? Were they going to hold on to it for a few weeks? Hold on to this postcard from, ostensibly Jeffrey Epstein. We could talk about that. But all these kind of incendiary things, where they're just going to hold on to it and why?
Right. And I want to pause on that because we'll wait for Ryan to get back to talk about the answer to that question may be more and more let's say, evidence tying Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein in escalatory ways, meaning, well, sexually and all of that. So there's a postcard that was found, and we're going to pause and wait for Ryan to get back, because I do have one more question on this, which is if you could speak a little bit to the redactions, because you mentioned this, Ryan mentioned this, the incompetence from the DOJ, I think is worth talking about, as you just alluded to.
I don't think it's incompetence.
Tell us a little bit about how people realized basically that they could copy the text, paste
the effort
it
to
into
hide
a
this shit
separate
is
document.
clearly purposeful.
And we have honestly victims.
She's saying
tell us a little bit about how people realized basically that they could copy the text,
to cover their
paste
tracks,
it into a separate document. And we have honestly victims. There was a Jane Doe who talked to the New York Times and said they were horrified because their name is unredacted in these documents, but there are also going to be other people uncovered as the redactions are peeled away by copy and paste, right?
That's right. Well, it's some of the redactions, to be clear. So the way you sanitize a PDF, there's a way to do it where you just put a black bar and you sanitize it and you can't remove that. There's also a way where the metadata of that text is still there, and so you can literally copy and paste it. So some of the files, yes, you're right. They just were basically unveiled by a simple copy paste job. Some people have falsely believed you can do that with every file. That's not the case, but it's just some of them. And you're right. I mean, the mantra of this admin has been, we are not releasing stuff because we're going to be so careful about protecting the victims. But it's like, not only does that not seem to be 100% true, also, there are clearly other people they're protecting. Going back to that Tin co-conspirator email.
Was it Jordan?
A lot of those names are redacted.
There was a phrase I saw getting bandied around for this. They're trying to protect anybody that's a PEP, politically exposed person.
Yeah, I went over that in the first video I did on the more recent dumps. I went over that. Where they started treating certain governmental or private citizens, treating them like they're equal to victims in regards to redactions, which is basically ridiculous, right? But
I figured I'd bring it up here in case somebody in the audience didn't see the other video for one reason or another.
Fair enough. I have to now leave and come back, though. 1 second. This channel is so fucking janky and ghetto. I love it. Rough around the edges. Pause. You can see here, though, but Coffeezilla is saying, like, a lot of these names are redacted. The co-conspirators, their names are fucking redacted. And he's, like, appalled by that. Here we go.
Protecting, going back to that Tin co-conspirator email, a lot of those names are redacted. Then you have Todd Blanche saying on Meet the Press, we did not redact any names that were not for the purpose, or that were for the purpose of just embarrassment or like political reasons or whatever.
I recommend people go watch the Coffeezilla video that I'm going to link. It was the one I was showing you right before this, where he goes over all this and he plays clips of Todd Blanche and his statements that are actually ridiculous. Maybe I should actually just play that, because I find it extremely interesting and, like, I think telling.
Cue it up.
Okay. Here we go. Play this.
Something very interesting.
Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
That's Ghislaine Maxwell.
That's a Bureau of Prisons security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Miss Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life. So the BOP is not only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety.
All right, so he's like, yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
So that was the Ghislaine part, because he was the one who interviewed her. We went over that as well months ago, right? From the transcripts to the actual audio, we went over all that. You can, I guess, any new viewers can go look for that themselves. I think there's one more with Todd Blanche. Unless, yeah, okay, all right.
Possibly be victims here.
Epstein Files Transparency Act prohibits redactions, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not.
But anyways, you can see that it says attempts.
Which is bullshit, right? Because you have a, like Coffeezilla was saying, you have a list of fucking quote-unquote co-conspirators. And they're being redacted, right? Their names are being redacted. So that's obviously a bullshit answer from Todd Blanche. But then again, if you actually go listen to the... I do actually recommend, I don't typically do this, recommend my own videos, but go watch that video where we go over the Todd Blanche interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. And don't even listen to us. Go look into the description box and go look up the fucking... the data dump, the audio and the transcript. And you'll see... in my humble opinion, at least, there's a bit of feeding answers to someone. B, this, I'm telling you, like, oh, well, yeah, everything I heard about Trump is a beautiful man, good person, beautiful person. All that shit. Same with Bill Clinton, like, a lot of protection going on from her testimony. And Top Line is like, yeah, good, okay, yeah, all right. It's just like, it screams being unprofessional at the very least, right? Sus at the worst, right? In the worst outlook of it. I recommend people go actually like look through that. Now, to be fair, a lot of it is lengthy, but it's a little bit easier when you listen to audio. So when you have like the hour and 44-minute video clips or audio clips, it's a little bit easier to listen to than reading all that fucking transcript. But I still recommend it anyways, because I think it's very telling. And then them feeding her fucking names. Was this guy there? Was this guy there? Was this guy there? Was this guy... Like, no, you're supposed to leave it open so she can give you answers, not the other way around. The fuck are we doing? But...
Yeah, around apparently. We're also apparently giving her permission to leave the prison whenever she wants, and like letting her have a fucking little puppy too.
It's a circus show, essentially, what that was. Then, like, once again, she gave you nothing. She gave you not like information-wise. She gave you actually like nothing. She exonerated herself, and it basically exonerated everyone else. That was all the names that were known, even though they fed her names. Either way, she still exonerated them with her own testimony, right? And that, for some reason, led to her going to a, you know, what do they call it? Club fed prison.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a clown show at that. It is. But all right, let's continue with Coffeezilla and breaking points.
Even if like following department policy is something you're concerned about, they violated that shit too. You're not supposed to hold a sex offender in that kind of prison. So Todd Blanche also just went over a bunch of people's fucking heads in his own department to do that.
And let's be honest, they sent him because they didn't want Pam Bondi to be anywhere, or her name did not have good standing at that point in time when that all went down.
She's already ass deep in shit.
Yeah, I'm not saying she would typically do that either. I'm just saying, like, if she had good standing, they'd want to send Pam Bondi in there to, you know, people will trust her. But she did not have any trust from the public at that point in time, in regards to Epstein especially.
While she's in the mix, don't be surprised if Donnie Boy throws her under the bus sooner or later.
Possibly. But all right, let's continue. Here we go.
It's only victims. But are you saying that the 10 co-conspirators, like eight of them that were redacted, were actually victims? Like, how does that make sense? You cannot square those things.
All right, so let's then turn to the Trump of it all.
Yeah. And here,
Ryan, did you just share something on the screen?
Yeah. So here are the redacted co-conspirators that you're talking about here. The only one that they didn't redact here, it says Wexner, Epstein investigator Russell cleared to participate. And then, so here, of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida and served grand jury subpoenas, one in Boston, one in New York City, and one in Connecticut. Connecticut may be Steve Hoffenberg. That's where he was living toward the end of his life. He was who knows? They had a falling out, so I'm not sure if that could be him. He's no longer alive. That one is a wealthy businessman in Ohio, which appears to be a reference to Les Wexner, unless he had some other wealthy businessman friends in Ohio.
Later they talk about, just real quick, later they talk about some of these people specifically, and they bring up Wexner in Ohio. So it's almost certain that that's the co-conspirator.
Yes.
They're talking about, unless there's two in Ohio. But they definitely were looking at Wexner.
Bleep it out there, but
Ryan, I don't know if you feel the same way. It feels to me like they redacted the names that were not publicly known before this drop. And they didn't redact the names that were politically sort of fine to kind of leave out in the cold and to kind of expose that the public kind of already suspected. It's also true of people who've already died, like Jean-Luc Brunel, famous pedophile. He's dead, so they leave him unredacted, right? Wexner, obviously the connections have been there forever, so they leave him unredacted. These other guys maybe weren't previously known. This does feel like the admin is running cover for those people to not expose them. You can say that's right or wrong because they haven't brought charges, but that's not what the bill says. I mean, that's not what the Transparency Act says, right?
Right, and that goes to people's one of
Ryan
the
Grimm in a
theories that
dream or
people have.
something.
Why is Trump? Why does he care so much about this? Not just his name in there, but people would say, well, he has a lot of friends and allies that are in there, and so this would support that idea that the Department of Justice and Trump have been trying to protect, people's names who have been in there. Like there was one case where they did release Trump's name, but it was in a situation where that particular document had already been, published somewhere else. So that fits your theory. But it's like, all right, stuff. We'll grab onto as much transparency, credibility as we can by releasing things that are already released, but try to make sure that we don't add to any new information. Although with this latest
stunt they tried to pull with the binders,
significantly added to what we know.
That is exactly what phase one was.
It's incredible. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like I got the first real glimpse at why the administration has been acting the way they're acting. I have been puzzled by this the entire time. I have been baffled by the way they are handling this. After last night, I finally see a glimpse at what they might be thinking about. I think it's a good time to talk about the postcard, the Larry Nassar alleged, and I think it's important to say that because there are a lot of questions about this postcard, and there's going to continue to be a lot of questions. I think there's a lot of reasons to doubt it, actually. But either way, this administration understands optics. And when you have a postcard, let's just read it off. I don't know if we can. When you have a postcard that says what this says, you know how people are going to feel about this.
Coffeezilla.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh, you know who that is, don't you?
At minimum.
And I actually.
Oh yeah, he's
wanna-
made a lot of
just on
exposing
this
videos
question-
about crypto scams. I've watched them; they're pretty good. They gave us an insight basically on what it's on how deep they go.
Okay. And what's the meaning of life, Candace?
Pause, bro. Pause.
What's the meaning of life, Candace?
Beast seasoning.
That's the meaning of life.
Oh my god! Did you? Is that what you think my meaning would be to answer? To that question.
We know.
No, the meaning of life is not squealing like a little girl.
I didn't. Just for the record, I didn't scream like a little girl.
I didn't squeal.
I never screamed. Okay. I screamed out of shock in that moment.
We know what you did, Candace. It's okay. It's on record. Thank you for admitting that on my YouTube video. Anyways, so they're gonna go over the thing we already went over, which is the postcard thing, where people are suspecting like maybe it's not real or whatever. Let's hear their take on it. Back up a little bit. All right, here we go.
Administration understands optics, and when you have a postcard, let's just read it off. I don't know if we can. When you have a postcard that says what this says, you know how people are going to feel about this.
Yeah, it's really funny. At minimum.
And I actually
not the word.
I just want to on this question about being a bit careful with this, I also just want to mention, as we were talking, I found that the Associated Press actually reported this back in 2023. And their reporting here is 2 weeks before ending his life, Jeffrey Epstein sat in the corner of his Manhattan jail cell with his hands over his ears, desperate to muffle the sound of a toilet that wouldn't stop running. Epstein was agitated and unable to sleep, and it goes on sort of describing his final days. But this goes to show that the Associated Press had this Nasser email. Here it is.
Well, they knew there was a message, right? But they didn't have the actual thing.
They're describing what we're seeing here. It says, it appeared he mailed it out and was returned back to him. This is according to an investigator who found the letter. I'm not sure if I should open it or if we should hand it to anyone, he told the prison official. So anyway, that's all. Just to say that
that's the important line. The letter itself was not turned over to the AP. So they knew about the existence of a letter, but they didn't.
Can you go back to the letter contents real quick? It's important.
Right. Sorry to joke about this, but like, Larry Nash is like, yo, you fucking sending me shit, bro? Don't fucking do that. He's like, yo, don't fucking do that. Like, you're the fucking main guy in trouble, bro. Don't fucking send shit to me. How fucking dare you? Just fucking hurting my appeal process and shit. Like, don't fucking message me, bro. Get this shit away from me. All right.
Damn.
He's like,
I just read this.
So, yo, absolutely. Mr. Nasser, you have some mail from Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, fuck. So send it back. I don't want it. Fuck. I got appeal court coming up soon. Trying to get probation and shit, bro. Like, fuck. All right, here we go.
Read this. He goes, as you know by now, I've taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab, snatch. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm just reading it. Whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. Now, this is like, I think regardless of, we're going to talk about, does it seem authentic, does it not? But the fact this existed in the files would make you not want to release it, even if you knew 100% it was fake. Because you know, like, Trump knows how optics work, and he knows this is a disaster, just no matter what. If it looks like a pedophile sent you a letter, or sent a letter to another guy who's a pedophile and blames you, or kind of implicates you at the very end of his life, that always is going to seem bad. Now, I just want to note a few things from this letter. Do you have the part where it stamps the letter? Like, there's a part with the postcard piece of it, because that's an important part, because it's actually date stamped August 13th, 2019. Right. Which is 3 days after his death. Now, there's some things to think about here. He could have, it stamps when they process the letter, which means it could have been written. He dies immediately afterwards, and as it's going through the system to get sent, they stamp it 3 days later. But one problem that I also see is that, it's also worth
rotate it.
There we go. I think we have it up now. Can you rotate that? So we can see what it looks like. Because there okay, there it is. If you see Nova 2220 in the top of that thing, top middle area, that references, I believe, a Virginia mailing center. So what's weird about this is that it should be stamped New York City. This is part of why I'm a little skeptical of this at the moment. Is why is it date stamped after his death? Why does it seem to have been processed by a Virginia facility? All of this kind of makes me have serious questions about this email. Now, that's not to say, not email, postcard. Now, that's not to
Jordan,
say,
what are we to do with you?
But I just think people are going to rush because it's politically one side or the other. Right?
Joe,
you either love this or you hate this. I think
just
people
like,
should be
I'm not denying that.
Just like Larry Nassar had nothing to do with Epstein, okay?
This is a
nothing about
it's obviously incendiary, whatever. But there are reasons to kind of have questions about this.
And another way that this could be fabricated and still wind up in the files. Tell me if my thought process is wrong here. Let's say you sent it from this, Northern Virginia mailing center, but you put the return address of MCC, Metropolitan Correctional. So when it gets returned to MCC rather than back to whoever sent it, and then it winds up in his collection of papers, and then somebody sees it and tells the AP about it and says, hey, in his papers here, we have a letter. We don't know what the letter says, but we have a letter that he apparently sent that was returned to Nasser. So I think that would, to me, like, that is a completely plausible scenario where somebody saw him die and was like, this would be really funny if I wrote a letter from him to Nasser, who's the other, like, super famous pedophile at the moment, and linked them all to Trump, and then by virtue of the return address, it winds up in the files. But then to your point, Stephen, like, yeah, if you're Trump, you're like, oh, God, this is not
funny
not
or
good.
politically advantageous,
even
if you're playing political games.
Believe it's fake.
Wow.
And the only thing I was going to add is from that original report. It has this line from an investigator saying it appeared he mailed it out and it was returned back to him. I'm not sure if I should open it or we should hand it over to anyone. The only reason I bring that up is just to say at the time you have an investigator who appears to say, or who is saying, it appears that Epstein himself did this, and then that gets into the media through a document dump. So people can take that with the massive grain of salt that I think Ryan just appropriately applied here, which is there are a million different ways. And as I've been going through the files, I can see why. I mean, it's obvious. Like, this was always a cope from the Trump administration, but it's a cope. It's a successful cope because it's a good point, which is that there are going to be things that get released that are going to send people down a million different rabbit holes needlessly, because it was evidence that was collected and then brought to the DOJ's Epstein files, quote unquote, and was dismissed. And you don't necessarily see them showing the work as to how they dismissed this, and the other thing. So yeah, I think it's possible that's the case here.
And I also think
I think
it would have some MCC jail markings. I would think, like mail that a prisoner sends out.
Ryan Grimm's he's in a jail right now.
Read and marked, unless he has his attorney send it.
Right. They also did a handwriting analysis, though. I mean, I think we need to ultimately look at what they concluded as well, because that is really telling. The fact it's handwritten actually gives you a lot of clues.
Right.
You have a bunch of writings of Jeffrey Epstein. Match up the letters. I mean, there's specific tells and there's forensic analysis you can do to easily at least debunk it.
I guess this was reported
to say
before.
Nothing of like confirm it, because
I guess this was written before, because the DOJ did make at least a Twitter statement that they look at the handwriting and it's like it's not his, according to them. But then again, they're on the line for not being trustworthy, basically. But either way, even if it's like bullshit, if it's like amongst this stuff, it should be shown and looked at, I think. Even if it's fake, like that can add to the whole investigation of things. Just having, like, knowing what isn't the case as much as, like, knowing what is the case, right? I think both are very valuable in regards to investigating anything. So, yeah, include all of it, please. But then again, if we have a dumb fuck world that may jump to conclusions or may whatever they might do, right, as a society, like, then that's where our real problem is at. But that's talking about a bigger story here, right? Or, it is what it is. I'm just saying, like I would hope adults are able to look at whatever is put in front of their faces and have questions in regards to anything that's being shown. If they just leap to conclusions, then I mean, like, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? And let's be real.
We scream and throw things.
Well, let's be real. The administration is too scared to do that. To be like, hey, you guys, they want to call you all idiots. They say it. They basically say you're all idiots without saying it directly. But they want to call you all, like, if they could, they'd be like, you guys are all idiots. We can't trust you with anything, so we're not doing this. Just saying. And also, these motherfuckers might be guilty of something too. Maybe not Bondi, maybe not Cash Patel themselves, like within the Epstein files, but maybe someone else,
And they covered it up.
Yeah.
Afterward.
Yeah, true. But it's like, I wouldn't be surprised in regards to any topic where they're too afraid to tell the public about things because they look at you as fucking children that can't handle things. And too often we prove them a little bit correct about that. Not saying they should hide any information from us. I'm just saying, like, we have been seemingly societally wise. We have showcased our there's a good portion of the population that's not ready to hear certain information because they might do something stupid in regards to it. I think we've seen enough of that. But I'm just adding other stuff into it. Not saying they shouldn't release anything. I think they should, and say, well, this is what the public is. Fine. Here's your shit. Here's democracy at work. Here's the information. Regardless of how they react. At the same time, it's like, if you are stone cold, like, my principles and my behaviors are locked in, there is no worry from me. There's nothing they could do, ever. But this little thing gives them an excuse to hide certain information or to, give it in tidbits or hyper redacted. Because guess what? Some people's names that might just be shown up here, right? Innocent or guilty, they might be taken a certain way. It's like, you have to realize that, public. And guess what? You left them room to have that argument, to have that excuse. Let's just be honest about that. We've seen this. We've seen the stupid shit. We've seen the stupid behaviors. We've seen it. Anyways, let's continue. More of this. Sorry, guys. Sorry to kill the silver lining. Sorry to kill the silver lining. I'm sorry. We fuck ourselves in regards to all this, but let's continue. Here we go.
There are some weird things here. I do think it's a funny Sophie's choice for conspiracy theorists, where the postcard implicates Epstein killing himself, which obviously a lot of people say, well, he didn't, for sure. They believe 100% he didn't. But then on the other hand, you have the same postcard with this, very explicit implicating of Trump. Do you believe the postcard? Do you not? Do you insist that he was killed, or do you think, it's definitely an interesting, it's an interesting one. I don't know what to make of it. I think the hardest part about it is it was sent so quickly after his death. I think that's going to fuel theories for years. I mean, because you could technically have it dated afterwards. It's just within the window of being maybe possible. Although, like I said, there's a lot of, I guess, problems with the theory as well.
Yeah, it was September 19th they asked for this handwriting analysis. But I don't think we've found yet the results of it.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's public yet. Which they need to ultimately publish that, regardless of what it says. Nobody's at this point, and this is part of the problem with how they've rolled it out. There's such low trust on this issue. They've shot all their credibility. It's gone. Nobody will believe anything if you don't release it. So it's like when this handwriting analysis you say you sent it in, if you do not have those records, it's going to be a disaster, because people are just going to say, well, it would have proved X or Y or whatever you want to believe.
And now as I'm Googling, I'm seeing media is running with this. People.com's headline is Jeffrey Epstein wrote apparent note to Larry Nassar. It's but you're right. If you're this sloppy about how you're releasing it, and you're just leaving it up to the public, it's going to get, not that the public is less trustworthy necessarily than these goons.
They can be.
Well, but it's just that you could collect any number of random scraps, as you do when you're investigating things.
That's why you want all of it. Boom, here's all. Right?
Yeah, but this definitely feels like the thing that they were kind of trying to be like, we do not want this out. This is so bad. I mean, there definitely could be more. I'm not saying there isn't, but this
how about
feels
this?
Like the first thing that makes sense. Yeah, this is another one for sure. U.S. attorney, assistant U.S. attorney, saying that Trump was on more flight records than previously reported, specifically mentioning that, he was on flights where some of the people present, well, one, it was during a time period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. And then on the second to last sentence, on the two other flights, two of the passengers respectively were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. That's also really bad. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this one. Okay.
Yeah, that is bad. The Department of Justice saying Trump flew on the plane more than they thought, and crucially at the moment where they're, investigating Maxwell for trafficking, and eventually convicting her of it. And okay, who are these two witnesses? What would they say about Trump? That they're not saying that anything happened on that flight. They're just saying he was there, but there were victims on the plane. And also it goes to this, like, I think it so far clears the bar for what people want our public officials to be doing. Like, even if you did not assault these two girls while you're on this plane, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing so many times on this plane called the Lolita Express at a time when these later to be convicted sex traffickers are trafficking women around, and that two of the victims are on the plane? Like, I think the public is done with, well, nothing happened. It's like, what are you doing there? It's great.
Okay, good.
This is just a quick aside. I don't know if the Lolita Express is one of these planes, but some of the planes Jeffrey Epstein had apparently used to be planes that were used in the Iran-Contra affair.
I've heard
by
that.
the Reagan administration.
I've heard that.
So just another limb to consider.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I didn't. Like, if he just purchased them for whatever reason, right? It could be weird, some sort of weird, nostalgic for a creepy thing going on. I don't know. Maybe the planes are more secured. I don't know. Maybe it was actually drug trafficking. Who knows, right?
I think it was a laundering operation. Can't investigate the planes if they're not there anymore.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. But all right, let's continue.
Well, it also might have features. Might also have features to the plane too, like a hollow spot to hide drugs.
That's where I was kind of.
If there's any validity to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if these people are fucking trafficking underage girls, it's a fair bet that they were moving some drugs around too. Whether it's for their own personal use or to sell, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. But I also want to add here, or go off of what Ryan Grimm just said, which is like, well, whether you were quote unquote innocent of something or not, like how are you here like this? It's almost like you don't care in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like, once again, that's a bare minimum.
You're that good of a businessman. You're that good of a businessman, but you're oblivious to your presence. Okay.
Yeah. Granted, you fell for that, Dubster, in regards to politics, right? In regards to him being in office.
He could be. He could very well be oblivious to the situation around him.
Okay, but what I meant was, like, when Trump was in office and doing horrendous things, the only excuse I saw in the room was, oh, he's oblivious to it. All right? Which makes no sense, considering he's announcing these things. And same would go with Jeffrey Epstein, I would think.
Well, I could argue a lot of the things he did in his first administration, including Syria.
You can argue what? They were justified?
A lot of things he did that you consider wrong, I could argue it's prospectively good.
Yeah, that's a nice qualifier there. Prospectively good. Okay, whatever. Let's move on. Here's more Ryan Grimm.
Gross.
Well, I think the question is, did nothing happen with everybody? I mean, how's that like what I've been saying from the beginning is I think it's definitely possible that a lot of the people in these files did nothing. I just don't believe all of them did nothing. Right. And that's what I refuse to believe. And when you see there's 10 co-conspirators, you go, where are the charges for the other people? And actually, you see this interesting, like, I would almost call it a counter reaction to all the clamoring for more evidence. The fact that there's such little that's been done in charging new co-conspirators. There's been a new thread of reporting that's like, well, there's nothing. This is just all a big to do about nothing. There's a big nothing burger. And there's been like some journalists who've now been very vocal about saying, you guys are crazy. He just was trafficking by himself. Like this was his own personal interest and nobody else was involved. So I think it, the public doesn't buy the side of it where it's like all of these guys are innocent. And also it gives credence to the idea of, well, there's these 10 co-conspirators. Where are the charges? Like, okay, you say you're not involved, but at least go after the people who were. Clearly you have enough leads to get grand jury subpoenas. They got a search warrant for evidence of a co-conspirator. You have to have some kind, there's a bar of evidence to get that search warrant. You've got to go talk to a judge. You got to get their approval. I mean, how did that lead nowhere? And if it did lead nowhere, tell the public exactly how that happened.
Yeah, and we're still missing a lot of that. The affidavits that accompany the warrant would be, explosive. The federal indictment, still, we haven't seen the details of it, nor have we seen the affidavits that accompany it. And that's the stuff that, I think that Trump very much does not want out, because they are charges, they're allegations, and the public will treat them as kind of settled fact. Whereas, but it could be a lot of bad stuff in there. These are things that the federal prosecutors allege. And, we're so used to the news covering what federal prosecutors allege that's what people will naturally do. We as reporters often say, don't take federal allegations as fact. These are allegations. They need to be proven. The public takes them as fact, and federal prosecutors love to just basically make sure that people believe that they are fact. So they're kind of caught in a vice of their own creation here. So that's why I think they're trying to keep those documents. Like, there's no evidence that there are these 10 co-conspirators, but the fact that federal prosecutors, they haven't presented the evidence yet, but the fact that federal prosecutors believe there were 10 co-conspirators, that's news, and it's huge news. And now we want to know why they believe that.
Which we should mention on this point, we were talking about how random stuff that you would hope investigators are scraping into this broader probe would at least be looking at. That would include this bizarre video, Ryan, that you all flagged initially.
Oh, right.
Because you were changing the URL. Right. Tell us a little bit about this, because I think it gives us some insight into the process and into what is the
deleted thing I was looking
contents
for?
of this larger dump.
Yeah, so basically, somebody seems to have fabricated a video of Epstein in his cell and then sent it to federal investigators, or somebody sent it to federal investigators. And then through that, it wound up in the files, which then were released. And so you get this video released without context of Epstein in his cell seeming to be like choking or something. But yeah, so
I want to jump in here. That is their choice to release this without context. I think it's a huge strategic mistake to just dump these files and let the public just run with it, because if you know something that we don't know, why wouldn't you provide some commentary about what it is? Instead of just trying to let the
And Emily, click on that
dump
DOJ
it.
link. I think they took it down.
Yeah.
They should release all of it. Even the fake AI video, whatever the fuck sent in. Just have if you release all of it, you would have the context next to it, wouldn't you? That'd be released too. Oh, we think this is fake. Right? That would go alongside with the video itself. Let's see if they show. If they don't show, I'm gonna just go look for it, because I had Ryan Grimm's tweet showing that video, and apparently it got deleted. But here we go. Let's see what they do.
They
click on that one.
There you go.
That was where the video was. What happens when you pull that up?
What do you mean? What happens when I pull what up?
If you that justice.gov link.
Your wifey, click on it. Come on, son.
Sorry, sorry. It's right here.
Yeah, so they took it down. So they took this video down.
Just a complete mess.
Okay, so let's try to find that on my own. And by the way, just to show, I'm gonna full screen share right now. Or just to show Discord. Hopefully you can see that. Nice. And because I reshared it to myself here, if you want to, right here. And usually when I share a tweet, like the image comes up and the tweet comes out, right? But right here, just stop there. But I copied and pasted that from something I shared before, just put it more recent in my
those embedded images are
right here.
They've been kind of fickle with Twitter ever since Elon bought it.
Yeah. Well, I think it was because it was deleted. But I sent this to myself before it was deleted. Right? And you can see here Ryan Grimm saying, unusual video could be a CGI recreation. You can't watch it here, obviously, but I'm sure someone re-uploaded the video.
Yeah, hopefully it's mirrored somewhere.
Let's see. I almost guarantee it's on here somewhere. Right, Dana White and Floyd knockout Conor McGregor. It's like, no! My golden goose. Okay, all right. I don't even know how that makes sense at all. It's tied to a post, and he's... The lettering right here just looks sketchy as fuck to me, you know? But, yeah. Just wanted to... I showed that. But all right, let's continue with this. Here we go.
Just a complete mess. I wanted to bring up, by the way, what did y'all make of? The prosecutors were clearly getting frustrated with Prince Andrew, who is one of the people obviously being both looked at, but also he was at the time trying to clear his name with some PR. So he releases to the public, hey, I'm cooperating with federal investigators. Investigators send each other like these links to the Sun and, basically they're reporting on it. And they're like, this guy's not cooperating with us. He's not doing an interview. They reached out to him and they started leaking on their own terms like, no, this guy's not cooperating with us. You have a back and forth between Prince Andrew's lawyer and, the U.S. government, where the Prince Andrew's lawyer is like, you guys said it was going to be confidential. And they're like, you lied to the public. I mean, it's kind of fascinating to see this jockeying for public narrative, right? Between people who are clearly, on the one hand, Prince Andrew's a person of interest. On the other hand, Prince Andrew's trying to get out in front of the story. Obviously, he's been stripped of his title now. Do you think we know everything there is to know about... do you think we know everything the Crown knows about Prince Andrew's involvement with Epstein? Or do you think they just did it out of an abundance of caution? Or do you think there is, proven allegations somewhere buried in here that we haven't seen yet?
I think they saw, okay, this stuff is, I guess, going to come out, so let's get ahead of this and knock you the fuck over and move on. That's what I think they were doing. Like, hey, this is going to come out. If all this Epstein stuff didn't reemerge kind of in a way, and all the, all this documentation and the Massey and Rokana and all that shit of getting this Transparency Act passed or whatever the fuck, if that didn't happen, or was basically going to happen, obviously going to happen, yeah, it's for sure. They're like, oh, let's get ahead of this. Let's get rid of this guy because some shit's going to come out and he's fucked. He's fucked. We're not. He's fucked, though. Thus, I think they know more than we know at this moment in time. But, all right, let me, audio delaying again. I promise I'll fix it. It's one day. I will fix this thing. All right, here we go.
I would suspect that they also have enormous numbers of private allegations that are separate from this.
That's probably true.
Because when they first started reporting on this, I had been separately doing reporting on Prince Andrew and his relationship with this shady bank that was doing work with the UAE, and people were telling me his bank that was.
I want to see that. DOJ went so far as to formally seek a compelled interview with Prince Andrew. He conveyed and conveyed this to his UK counsel, but nothing ever came of it apparently because all they had to go on was the word of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, which obviously would have never held up in court. Michael Tracy's on the case, bro. He's there sweating along, bro, leaving snail-like sweat trails behind him. There we go.
Doing work with
Good job,
the UAE.
Michael Tracy.
And people were telling me his widely known nickname was Randy Andy. And so, like, I think
that was
when the Epstein
security
stuff came in, it was
guard
more
guy
like,
saying that.
yeah, okay, this tracks. And then he gave that absolutely debacle of an interview where he's like, yeah, I don't sweat. None of this can be true because
Michael Tracy does.
So it was just this
together.
like,
you couldn't look
sweat normal.
more guilty at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't sweat. So I think that's my suspicion that the family just kind of knew, like, his name's Randy Andy, and he's always like running around with like inappropriately aged young women or older girls, and so they're like, this is just too much for us. That's my suspicion. So I don't know if they even need to know more than is in this.
I'm thinking his brother
document.
sorry, Ryan Grimm. I'm thinking his brother sat him down. He's like, yo, listen, what'd you do? All right, I got to let you go, man. You got to be gone. I will not fuck this crown up. Don't worry, you'll have money. You'll be good for the rest of your life. You're good. But I can't have your actions reflect on the crown. You know what? You're fucking done. But brother Charles, didn't you do? Don't you say it. You could be wired. Don't say it.
At that point, we kind of have to.
But Princess Diana, don't you
No
fucking
choice.
say it. Shut your fucking mouth, Andrew. Okay? Oh, you're not Prince anymore, by the way. You're Andrew now. I'm calling you Andrew for now.
But doesn't that just make you think, what the fuck did Prince Harry do then? He got kicked out before Andrew.
Is he the one
Harry knows
dating
what
a
he
black
did.
chick? Them? Who's the other one?
No. Well, she's mixed. Meghan Merkel or whatever her name was.
Yeah, she's black, yeah. What about her?
Yeah. So why did Prince Harry get kicked out of the family before the known pedophile?
He brought black genes into the royal family, bro. Can't do that. Duh.
Can't have that in fucking old money aristocracy England.
I'm trolling. I don't know what the fuck. I didn't look into it. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that happened. To be honest with you.
I bet it's just
Yeah,
because
he
his
lives
wife is such a bitch.
They live in LA now. They don't even live in England.
Well, you know what? Good for them. Bad for us.
Not really.
But good for them.
Right.
All right. Let's continue. Here we go.
Might be losing you a bit, Ryan.
Oh well.
I want to play Scrabble with her.
Well, that's about all I got.
But let her win. You know what I'm saying? Oh, is their audio all fucked?
Before we wrap, I just wanted to get your final thoughts on this, and maybe also just from the perspective of somebody who's been in the knee deep in all of this for days, with the new documents being in some cases like 72 hours. We've had actually a little bit more at this point because it's Wednesday and we started getting them on Friday, but you're also connecting the bigger pieces of the puzzle. I always say my perspective on what's going to happen with Epstein is the government's not going to accidentally or intentionally release a smoking gun document. In all likelihood, any document, whether it's a picture or an email that contains a smoking gun, is already gone. It's been destroyed, deleted, and it's certainly not going to get released to the public accidentally. Although with this DOJ, that possibility seems to be higher because there's a level of incompetence to all of it. It looks like to me another example of JFK syndrome, where we get a steady drip over the course of decades of documents that are released and personal testimonies of people involved, and the public then has 900 pieces of a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and there's always going to be 10 that are missing. And so over the course of decades, as the years go on, the picture becomes more and more clear, but you can never be definitively certain of what happened. That's what I feel like we're what the Epstein investigation, at least publicly, is going to end up, and that's what I think it's becoming. So I'm curious for your position on that, having, just as you still are, been in the weeds of all of this for days.
I think that's right. I think it's absolutely going to become the next JFK. I think people are going to be talking about this for decades. I think they're going to data drip it out, like you said. I think there's...
but they got to...
right? Given their evasiveness, nobody trusts that they wouldn't kind of keep back a few files, right? Under the guise of some rolling production or ongoing investigations, or we had to redact
Victims.
it for XYZ. Yeah, victim
or
reasons.
national security.
So, national security. Let's not forget about national security.
Of course, it's a national security interest. Epstein's, Lolita Express. So I do think that's gonna continue. I mean, I'll bring it all back to public trust. The administration has completely lost the public's belief in them on this issue specifically, and I think that's across the board. I don't even think straight down the line Republicans believe anything this admin says about Epstein. It's just on this issue they've lost everyone's trust collectively, and that puts them in a kind of a no-win position. But also, as they make these blunders, it seems like the only belief we have is in their incompetence and them accidentally releasing something. But also, they can never really falsify it, because it's it's one of those things where, because they've lost so much public trust in the way they've been handling it, because they've been acting so evasive, they put the public in this position of, how can we ever think that we got the full story when you've been acting so strange about it this whole time? And, I don't see that going away anytime soon. I think it's going to be a deep problem. And the fact that in the last administration, we didn't see a lot of interest in releasing these either means, well, where is their credibility too? It's like right now it's just in,
thank you for bringing that
we
up.
know this is a weak spot for Republicans who are pushing on this issue. That's what it seems to me to be politically. But do they have the public trust in, we're going to come out and we're going to tell you actually, the truth about it? If they come out and say, we cleared Trump, if they come out and say that, like the Democrats, they come out and say later, oh, he did kill himself in that cell, are people going to believe it? Or are they just going to say, no, you're lying too?
Right.
Fair enough. And that's worthy of looking into, because Democrats, there's no chance they run on this, right? There's no chance, right? If I win the presidency, I will release the Epstein files. Even though they're supposed to do it right now, right? But they'll say I'll release the real Epstein files. Do you expect that? I don't expect that at all.
Well, that would require them to, actually do something.
Yeah. Well, they are doing something. It's just the same thing Trump does. It's seemingly policy-wise, same next door neighbor style thing.
And I will thank them for that, which I will remind you is nothing.
I think at most we'll hear is, hey, MAGA promised that they were going to release the Epstein files, but guess what? They didn't. And I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying, those guys promised that. They didn't do it. So, you know what? We're better. That's what I expect at most from that team, to be honest with you.
What a bar.
But we also have to be honest in regards to the public and what they're willing to fall for. And we've seen it for many a years, where they will take this incident, Jeffrey, let's say the Epstein files, let's say that, right? They will look at individuals and say, those guys are to blame. And thus, someone could just reemerge. It could be J.D. Vance. It could be J.D. Vance. That's what Tucker's pushing, kind of, right? Tucker Carlson's pushing that J.D. Vance guy. Where it's well, I had nothing to do with that. Yeah, it was Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Donald Trump's fault. It's their fault. Meanwhile, they'll just move on it's just those guys that did that, and then move on, right? That seems very possible, because pre-K psychology works on people, apparently, and it's doomed to repeat yourselves. Let's be honest. And then the new guy will, whether it's J.D. Vance or someone else, that new guy will disappoint you too. And you'll act once again, individually, oh, it was J.D. Vance, it's his fault, or whatever person replaces them. It'll be their individual faults. Then the next person will come in and trick them again, and like it'd be on like a continuous thing. We've seen this over years. I mean, there's if you look from like once again from 2000 to now, right? The year 2000 to now, George W. Bush to now. It's like, yo, they've ran the same style thing against you guys over and over and over again, and it worked. It kept working. And it's like, how long will this pre-K shit work on you guys? Is there a limit? Is there a red line? Like, okay, we're done now. It's too much. We're done. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. Even with this, like I said, with this Epstein stuff, they are seeing like, oh my God, this is Trump's fault. This is Pam Bondi's fault. This is Kash Patel's fault. Meanwhile, they're just faces you see instead of like, you know, like kind of like no abandon. Like, yo, we want this. We want these files straight up. No bullshit. Like, if you don't do that, you're gone. You're done with. We're done with you. That's not doesn't seem to be the sentiment from regular civilians, and it's unfortunate, right? But it seems to be the case. So thus, these things will, like they said, JFK, linger on, and linger on, sadly. But let's let's hear the ending of this video, I guess. Here we go.
And as we wrap here, I'm curious for your final thoughts with
yes, hot wife,
the
hot nerd wife.
Big picture that you've been working on, which is intelligence ties.
No!
Anything in this latest round of revelation, are you pulling at any threads here with that bigger picture in mind? You're muted, Ryan.
I think the new Wexner stuff, the number of co-conspirators.
You're in a dream, Ryan.
You know, the amount of evidence we have of his criminality over the years that didn't lead to his prosecution until the very end is all interesting. Might have just lost you again. But yeah, I mean, check out Jmail, check out Coffeezilla's post. If people haven't seen it yet, like, this is such a great resource.
What the fuck?
It's incredible.
The first email. Fuck.
It's almost like a meme almost. So it's like, okay, this is what Jeffrey Epstein's inbox would look like.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It's kind
the
of
entire
meme-y.
interface is designed like you're Jeffrey Epstein logged into Google.
Okay, it's pretty creative.
And to whoever
You hear me?
thought of doing this, you are a beautiful bastard. Whoever came up with this.
With all
I'm only
contacts.
mad 'cause
Look at that shit. Michael Wolff, Larry
Hello?
Summers.
You guys hear me?
Yes. Steve
Yeah, we hear
Bannon,
you.
Ken Starr, Noam Chomsky.
I'm only mad because I didn't think of this shit myself.
So I looked up to see if anybody's talking about the leak stuff. It's just Jones, and he's denying stuff.
No, we're gonna watch
Besides
Jones
that,
later.
I found.
How about that?
Besides that, I found something saying like photos of his island house,
Shit.
Epstein's island house, been released, and
Little St.
all it
James.
was two different pictures, and it was the supposed blood stained sheet or bed or whatever.
Sure, I've heard of. Yeah.
An inside angle with a caption under it that says, supposedly the workers that were dismantling the temple were staying in there.
And having periods or something? Is that the...
Well, they're claiming it's sweat.
Oh, because it browned, I guess. But would it turn that
Yeah.
dark of a brown from sweat? I don't think so. This is Michael Tracy, but...
Right. So the other picture is just a picture of a place where he has a really tall bookshelf. And it's just an empty bookshelf, but they're calling it like a Masonic style bookshelf in the caption. It's like 2 new pictures. Great.
Well, it's like, get to the... Why aren't they attacking the simplest thing? Can't that be like kind of a distraction in a way? Why not look at the most direct, blatant shit we have and like really dig into that? Be like, yo, where's the answers for this question right here? Because as soon as you start going to, oh my God, Masonic symbolism of the staircase, or whatever the fuck, right? It ends up like, not saying that that should be like pushed aside or not looked at all. I'm just saying like, you have some like dumb guy logic things to like look at to point those out in particular. Like, yo, answer for this. Make this make sense to the public. That's where I think people should, like, in my opinion, should like lean towards. Just like Charlie Kirk or any other like conspiracy idea. Like, look at the simple things, but hey, this doesn't make sense on a simple level. Make it make sense to us. If it doesn't make, if you can't make it make sense, that means you have more investigating to fucking do. Let's be honest, right?
You know your email's up, right?
That is not my email.
Yeah.
Can you
Keep
imagine,
up, Josh? Check out jmail.world.
Can you imagine my
It's really
contacts?
funny.
My contacts: Michael Wolf, Larry Summers, Steve Bannon, Ken Starr, Noam Chomsky.
Okay. I'm sorry.
My personal. Oh shit! My friends list. Yo, run! Yo, Noam, run, bro. But yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Jordan,
And I will
Jordan
link
was that
this.
well connected. He wouldn't have to sit here and do this shit all day.
I know. I mean, I'd do it anyways because I'm Jordan.
Because you're Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. I would do it anyways.
Motherfucker.
Have thoughts and opinions, bro. I'll let it fly.
How dare you?
But even the look, yeah, that's hilarious. Gemini, but with a J. Gemini.
I told you, dude. This shit's great.
That's actually funny.
See what happens when you listen to me?
This will be linked in the description box for you guys to look at on your own. You know, and do what you do with that. That is.
Look, they even did it to the fucking Amazon logo up there.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. Wait.
Oh fuck!
They put a hat on the Gmail logo. They put a hat on it, like a fedora or something. Yeah, these fools are wilding, bro. In the Google Drive thing, you can see a hat there too. And what's this? I don't know what that is. Either way, there's
photos.
Okay, there's hats on them.
I fucking love it.
Either way, that will be linked in the description box, along with the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now. That will be linked in that same description box, along with everything else that was shown to you in this video. I'll even put the Epstein alleged AI video of him in a jail cell, which looks kind of crazy when you look at him. Like, that looks kind of crazy. But either way, fine. They should say, like, they shouldn't delete that. They should be like, oh, this was sent to us. We think it's fake. Like, add all of it. Add all the context to it as well. Right?
Yeah.
So why not?
It needs to be examined.
Why not be like, yo, our IT team looked at this and it looks fake. You know what? Here it is. We'll post it. But according to our IT team, whether you trust them or not, because they work for you, the American people, right? Here's the fucking thing. But this is their assessment on it, right? But yes, that will all be linked in that same description box. Also, please comment what you think about any of this stuff, anything that we're not bringing up, videos or tweets or files or something like that that you are like, yo, you guys should cover this. Please send it, and I will look into it if I don't look at it already. So please do that. Or any opinions, please say that as well. Also, don't forget to check out the charity links if you want to donate to that or just read their stories. Some you can't donate to at this point in time, but you can read their stories. I think that's actually important, especially for the up-and-comers. I think it's important. And most importantly, this one thing you must do. Where's Prop with the Candace voice? Whatever. Most importantly, give this video a thumbs down. Yeah.